This is the Jocko Underground Podcast, number 34. Echo Charles and myself, Jocko Willink, sitting around. Get a periodic question. People start talking to me about what's my 5-year plan, what's my 10-year plan, this like long-term strategic plan. How do you go about that? What does it involve? What is that planning? How does that planning take shape? How do you format it? Like these kind of questions. So I want to talk about it a little bit. The shocker statement, which is sort of dramatic, overly dramatic because it's only partially true and kind of true, which is I don't do that. And sometimes I'll say that for a little shock value or because I want to impress. I think not for shock value. I say it to people because I want to impress upon them that I don't do it the way a normal person would do it. Part of the reason for that is I think one of the lessons that I learned in combat is that overly detailing plans, they're not going to be possible to follow. I mean, and this might be, this is even a one operation that's going to last 3 hours. If you make a super detailed plan and you invest a lot of time and effort in trying to make a super detailed plan, chances are you're not going to be able to execute it. What's better is to make a flexible plan with some broad goals so that you understand what it is you're trying to get done and then go execute with some flexibility. So looking at your life or your business and being like, okay, well, I need a 5 to 10 year strategic plan. I kind of apply the same thing. I'm going to look for some overall long-term strategic goals of where I want to be. And then I'm going to explore different opportunities to get me there, to satisfy that mission. I might make loose plans about what I'm going to try and do, but I'm not going to overcommit to any plans too. That's another thing. Sure. There's not some idea that I have that I'm committing to, which is weird. It's backwards from what people think, right? Yeah. You got to commit. Right. And you do got to commit. Sort of like in jiu-jitsu, if I do a sweep because I want to expose your arm, but I don't really commit to the sweep, well, then you don't even defend it. Your arm doesn't stick out, so I can't get your arm. Yeah. I need to actually try. That'll expose another opportunity. If I don't actually try, there's not going to be opportunities. So I'm not saying you don't have to commit to things that you're going for, but I don't try and sweep you, and then when you don't get swept, I don't just keep trying to use all my energy. And by the way, now I'm exposing myself to a bad situation. So that's sort of like the way I look at long-term sort of goals in life. And 5-10 years, 6 years ago, we didn't have a podcast. There wasn't a thing. 6 years ago, I didn't have any books. Hadn't written any books. Didn't have anything to sell. Wasn't selling anything. I had Echelon Front, but it was just Leif and me. So we had a consulting company, but it was 2 people. Now I got 10 something books, multiple podcasts. We got Origin. We got Jocko Fuel. We got the Warrior Kid. I got real estate things going on. I got Jocko Publishing. Echelon Front is now a bunch of people. Online Academy, Extreme Ownership Academy. The FTX going on at Echelon Front, the battlefield stuff that we do, the muster, there's all kinds of things going on. And if you would have asked me 6 years ago if I would have a clothing factory in North Carolina, I would have said, well, I guess that could happen. Or a boot factory, we're going to make boots in America. Might have said, okay, that seems like, okay. If you would have told me I would have been selling energy drinks throughout the country, I would have said, okay. So there's a lot of things are going on that might have been hard to predict, right? So what am I doing? I'm looking for opportunities. And then apply some resources. Some. Not overcommitting, but apply some resources and then run a feedback loop. And run a quick feedback loop. And what kind of feedback are you getting? Is the product that you made good? Are people listening to the podcast? Are people contacting Echelon Front to have us help them with their leadership? Oh, no one's contacting us? Okay, well, maybe the product that we're making isn't that desired. Oh, a ton of people are contacting us? Okay, Maybe we should hire some other instructors. Oh, we got some more instructors and they're working overtime. Okay, maybe we need some more. Oh, we're going to make T-shirts. Well, no one buys the T-shirts. Okay, well, maybe people don't want T-shirts that say discipline equals freedom on them. Okay. Oh, we made T-shirts that say discipline equals freedom and a lot of people are buying them. Okay, cool. Let's make some more of those. Let's make a sweatshirt that says those. Should we make 50,000 sweatshirts that says that? No. Because we don't know how many people are going to buy them. How about we just make 2,000 right now? Oh, those all sold. Okay, well, how about, you see what I'm saying? So you experiment a little bit. You take some risk, but you don't take too much risk. I didn't say, hey, I think I'm going to make T-shirts. I'm going to buy a factory tomorrow.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah, no.
I'm going to employ 100 people to sew. Like, that's not what we're doing. But here, so now I'm saying all that. But as I went through all that, there's a really important part of this, and that is, number one, keep an open mind, right? Because these opportunities are going to present themselves in your life, and you got to keep an open mind. That also reinforces the idea of not committing, overcommitting on things. But also, you have to occasionally, periodically, more than occasionally, periodically, you have to review what you're doing tactically, like this day, this week, this month, to make sure it's getting you where you want to be strategically. And then you need to assess and adjust, assess and adjust, assess and adjust. So if you and I started this podcast and we were like, okay, hey, that was pretty cool. And then we invited on somebody that was in charge of pet animals, veterinarian, right? And then we were like, okay, hey, that was cool. And the veterinarian was cool to talk to. So then all of a sudden we're like, hey, let's do the next one in the veterinarian's shop. And we can hopefully get some of these animals that are up for adoption. We can get them adopted, right? And so like, cool. And then all of a sudden we look up in 2 years and we're running an adoption agency for pets. I got nothing against pets. Right. I don't want dogs to get put down from the pound. But if my main effort in life was helping stray dogs get adopted, again, that's a great effort, but it wouldn't be what I would want to concentrate on. So instead of getting 2 years down the road, in a month, I'd say, hey, Echo, man, I know we just did 2 podcasts inside of a dog pound, which is cool. It was fun, but I don't know if that's strategically where we want to be. So make those adjustments. Make those adjustments, because otherwise you could end up looking up in 3, 4, 5 years and you're involved in something that you don't even like. Yeah. You don't even want to be involved in it. Dog's a bad guy. I like dogs. It's a bad example. I should have said something else, but that's what came out of my mouth. So we got to stick with it. We don't have to stick with it. We could adjust. What could have pulled us off the path? What could we got into?
Flower shops,
right?
We like flowers.
We like flowers, but we don't want to be pulling weeds all day and trying to talk about. Here's the problem with that. I'm not truly interested in flowers. Right. More interested. That's a great one, actually. Flowers are fine. Gardens are fine. Mm-hmm. It's not my scene. It's not. I'm not into it.
It's for sure not aligned with the original group of goals that you had.
Yeah. But let's say, we did one and I started talking about, if you want to be able to survive, you got to be able to grow plants.
Right.
And then all of a sudden said, hey, I'd love to come on your podcast and talk about, hydroponics.
Hell yeah.
So we bring on that guest, and all of a sudden he's like, yeah, you should do the next one. I'll come and give you a tour of my internal farm. Yep. You see what I'm saying?
Yep, I see it.
Next thing you know, I'm talking about weeds and freaking root length and soil composition.
Yep.
Stuff that I'm not really into.
Yeah.
Again, if you're into it, hype, good. I'm glad. Because you can grow food for me.
Yeah.
So don't let yourself get too far down a path. That's why you got to run. You got to detach, and you got to assess what you're doing.
Yeah, that's because, and also other people in your little group, if you have a group or whatever, they can kind of pull you too. I've found anyway that you got to watch out. And this is advice to me. Like right now, what you're saying, you're talking to me as far as I'm concerned.
So you don't really like this podcast that we do?
No, sir. That's one of the good parts.
Well, actually, here's something. Do you like running fulfillment and stocking shelves. Do you like doing that?
Well, that was one. No, okay, I don't.
So what's good is you did that for a little while.
Yes.
We did that for a little while. Yeah. Mostly you.
Right.
You realized, hey, this isn't like a great effort. This isn't a great use of my time. Right. I don't love doing it. Yeah. Do you like making videos?
Yes.
And you still make videos?
Yes, sir.
Is that a good use of your time?
I think so.
Do you enjoy it?
Yes, sir.
So you steered yourself away from stocking, shipping, packaging.
Yeah.
And by the way, we have a friend that does that and is into it. Mm-hmm. And like, cool, right on. Let's help build your business. Mm-hmm. Good to go. Ryan, right?
Yep.
Hey, Ryan, right on. He's got a business. He's into it. He's making that work. He's got a team. Like, that's good stuff. Wasn't really Echo Charles's scene.
Right.
Perhaps we could say, maybe, no offense, maybe it wasn't even your skill set.
I'm always down to learn.
Because it was, kind of a thing that requires a timely commitment and execution.
Yeah, let's say my skill set at the time, and even maybe at this time, was not up to the standard that I think it probably should have took.
Yep, and it's not a good fit. So this is a good leadership point. If I've got Echo Charles at my company, and Echo's good at creating things, he's good at coming up with ideas, but he's not the kind that shows up, early and is like executing that project on time. Yes, why am I putting him in charge of fulfillment?
Yeah,
we're not going to do that. We're going to put him in charge of making videos or something like this.
Something else, yeah.
So there you go. Good. I think this is important stuff for people to know.
Yeah, yeah. So, and if you how like, if you have a group of people or whatever, and then they say, oh, shoot, we need someone to, do this task. That's not a consistent task that needs to be done. It's just one kind of, one-off task. And then just it's not a deep evaluation. It's just, it kind of comes up like, Echo could probably do it given the fact that he knows about this, this, and this. So he could probably at least give me some advice, right? So they go to Echo, and then, so now I'm there, quote unquote, giving advice, my best opinion or whatever. And it seems like, dang, that's a good opinion. Then they'll be like, kind of in the back of their mind, hey, let's sort of task him with this in general. Let's come to him for this kind of stuff in general. And of course, me being the team, I'm trying to help, or what do you call it? I'm a go with guy, right? Of course. I mean, most of the time anyway. So I'm be like, oh yeah, cool. Yeah, I'll do that right now. And then the next week, yeah, sure, I'll do it. And then 2 months later, that's like, I'm on the hook for doing that now. And it's like, dang, I didn't even, I thought I wanted to do this other stuff.
You just took everything that I said and turned it into how to get out of work.
Well, the thing is,
you just said all of a sudden you're on the hook for stuff.
Yep, it's true.
You don't like that,
bro. That's how it feels if you get caught down one of these little rabbit holes or however you put it, where you look up and you're like, wait a second, this isn't part of my plan at all. I just kind of got sucked in, and you did get sucked, or you allowed yourself to get sucked. I'm talking to myself.
Mission creep. It's
a total mission creep. Scope creep, mission creep, freaking all that stuff, and you look up because you don't want to let nobody down. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying other people can suck you down that hole. It's not always just you.
I give you a 9 out of 10 for stopping that from happening.
Well, there was this one period of time where I actually even came to you and was like, hey, this is what I'm thinking as far as like stopping certain things or getting less and less involved in certain things. But like I said, to me, you are talking to me because that's like a constant thing, I think.
Well, good thing to pay attention to. Let's get to some Q&A. What do you got?
Question and answers. Echo and Jocko, I start bouncing soon at a bar. Oh,
this is fired up. When I saw this, I was like, all right.
And I want to get insight from both of you, especially Echo due to his experience working in the nightlife. I'm 23 years old, which is literally the age I started. Or I started here in San Diego. I was younger in Hawaii. I'm 23-year-old, 5'10", and about 210. Same dimensions as me, more or less. I've been training both Muay Thai and the Jiu-Jitsu for about 4 years, training anywhere from 4 to 6 times a week. I feel relatively confident in physical altercations, though I tend to avoid them at all costs. A friend of mine who also I train with owns a couple restaurants and said he'd love for me to bounce for him because I'm extroverted.
Quote, extroverted.
quote unquote, extroverted, good with people, and tend to be pretty good at de-escalating situations. My problem is how much I hate confrontation. While it's good to have the traits I mentioned before, I find that I'm often really bad at being stern or putting my foot down when needed. And this is obviously a necessary skill for a bouncer. Looking for some advice that either of you think might help. Thanks, guys.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead there.
No. Please.
Go ahead there, fucking Dalton.
Bro, I was watching Roadhouse the other day, and bro, that he's is sensationalized in a bunch of ways, but he was right. His speech, be nice. Yeah, it's not personal. Sure. Like all this stuff.
Yep. We could pretty much just roll the Dalton speech from Roadhouse right now.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And what's interesting about this is, what do I think? I think, well, make sure you learn how to detach. Don't take things personally. Train jiu-jitsu. You're already trained in jiu-jitsu. What's good is it seems like you actually might have. That is a little excerpt of what we are doing on the Jocko Underground podcast. So if you want to continue to listen, go to jockounderground.com and subscribe. And we're doing this to mitigate our reliance on external platforms so we are not subject to their control. And we're doing it so we can give you more control, more interaction, more direct connections, better communications with us, strengthen this legion of troopers that are in the game with us. So thank you. It's jockounderground.com. It costs $8.18 a month. And if you can't afford to support us, we can still support you. Just email assistance@jockounderground.com and we'll get you taken care of. Until then, we will see you mobilized underground.